All right. So yeah, thank you all again for joining for this first Lunch and Learn. Hopefully we get some momentum going throughout the summer and we got lots of people to join. But so today's conversation that we're going to do is going to be about putting some fun in promotional funds. So we get a lot of questions, especially at the beginning of the season, on how promotional funds can be used and so forth. So we thought that this would be a good topic to start with. So with most of these lunch and learns, what we're kind of hoping to do is get more of a dialogue going between the different market managers. So be more type of peer-to-peer learning, because you guys are the ones who are, at the front of everything. So you're the ones who really know what's going on with your market and ways that you have maybe used promotional funds in the past that have been super successful, and things to maybe avoid. So for today, I did create a little PowerPoint presentation that's going to go over the information from the details, the kind of boring stuff about promotional funds. So like having to submit receipts and who's eligible and how much money you get and stuff like that. So I put together a PowerPoint for that. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and just open it up for conversation. So that way we can, share ideas and so forth. So that's kind of what you can expect for the next, period of time. If we finish up early, that's cool. Definitely give you back some time in your day so you can go do other things. But yeah, again, I do appreciate you for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we can kind of go from there. All right. So as this first session of the Lunch and Learn is putting some fun in promotional funds. So the promotional funds are funding that can be spent for any type of promotion, outreach, marketing efforts that will help educate the community about your market. So basically, exactly what promotional fund sounds like. It's money that you can use to promote your farmer's market. So yeah, this is a great way to just help get the community aware of your farmer's market and what they can expect whenever they visit. So I'm going to go over the details of how to apply for funding and what's available and so forth. So the amount that's available is every market receives a base of $300 and then an additional $5 per vendor. So the way that we actually calculate the amount of vendors is a majority of the farmers markets use the New Mexico Farmers Marketing Association to get their insurance. So we use the same number that is put on that insurance fee in order to calculate the exact number of vendors for that additional $5. Yeah, and so forth. So, yeah, you must use the same peak average that you use to calculate your membership dues and your annual liability insurance. Whenever this does get kind of complicated is whenever you might have a majority of arts and crafts vendors, because this is really supposed to be geared towards promoting like the fresh produce and so forth. So whenever you're counting the amount of vendors that you have, if you go to our website, which I'll be sure to share the link with you, it kind of gives some details on how to calculate your arts and crafts vendors versus your regular vendors. So that is something that I wanted to point out because it does get kind of confusing. But yeah, so basically everybody receives a base of $300 and then an additional $5 per vendor. The only caveat is all the arts and crafts vendors. So in order to be eligible for the promotional funds, you must be a member of good standing. So you must have paid your, membership dues. You also have to submit the information, which I'll go into in the next slide, I believe, is by November 15th. And we typically like our farmers markets to kind of come up with an idea of what they're going to spend their promotional funds on by April 1st. So whenever they're submitting information for their market membership, we like them to be thinking about how they're going to spend their promotional dollars as well. So the membership application does also contain information for estimating your market's available funds. So again, yeah, for calculating that $5 additional funding. So pretty much, if you're a member in good standing, you can at least get $300 plus, then again, additional $5 for every vendor, as long as you're in good standing. All right, so there are some requirements for this promotional funds. And the main things that we really like to point out is that they are focusing on healthy eating, or they're promoting one of our food and nutrition incentive programs like Double Up Food Bucks, SNAP, WIC, or Seniors Farmers Market Nutrition Program. So as long as you include one of those in the promotional material that you're creating, it will meet the requirement for promotional funds. So if you have a sign that you put on the road to say, hey, look, there's a farmer's market that's this way with an arrow. You just have to make sure that it says like, stop by here for some healthy, fresh fruits and vegetables. Something like that would cover this requirement. Or if you say, stop by the farmer's market, now accepting Double Up Food Bucks, SNAP, WIC, and so forth, that would also cover it. So whenever you create your promotional materials, you just need to make sure that you have healthy eating or something along those lines, or Double Up Food Bucks, SNAP, WIC, or the Seniors Farmers Market Nutrition Program. So yeah, it's really simple. We're pretty flexible with that, as long as, you know, it mentions, it doesn't have to say healthy eating exactly, but it can say like fresh and healthy produce here or something like that. So we are pretty lenient with that. If you ever have questions, if your wording is not correct or anything like that, definitely feel free to reach out to us and we can confirm that before, you know, you make your purchases and everything. So right here is kind of the procedure that you go through in order to submit for the promotional funds for the reimbursement. So it is a reimbursement. So we typically, that means you buy it first. So maybe you buy these signs and you purchase these signs first and you pay for it. And then they'll eventually submit all of the information from the vendor. So we're going to be the invoice, the physical evidence that the promotion occurred. So a newspaper tear sheet, a photograph. If you did like a radio commercial, we would need to have a clip of the audio that you put on there. And we also need the proof of payment. So making sure that, you know, the receipt is included. So, and like I said, it's done on a reimbursement basis. So whenever you get it to us, we'll turn around and check to reimburse you for that. We do like you all to use some of the different logos that we have provided, just so that there's some kind of cohesion between all of the farmers markets, and just so that way people can, you know, like brand recognize everything. So this logo that's on this first page, if your market doesn't have one of those, we can make one for you. But we would encourage you to use that logo, as well as the New Mexico Department of Agriculture has a Taste the Tradition logo too, which we can also get to you if you need it. But we do like to have those on the stuff, just because it just helps, like I said, create that cohesion, the brand awareness, and so forth. So the deadlines for all of this is the funds must be spent and submitted for reimbursement by November 15th. So just make sure that you get in the information from that. Like I said, it is a reimbursement process. So if you submit it sooner, you will get reimbursed sooner. We just want to make sure that people have used their promotional funds for that market year by November 15th. So be sure that you get that in there. Let's see. Cool. So basically, that goes over some of the funds that are available, how much you receive, goes over the eligibility, some of the requirements, and the procedure. It's a pretty simple process, at least we hope it is, because we try to make it as easy for you all as possible, because you know how a lot of us are wearing many different hats, and so we want to just try to make this as smooth-lined and streamlined as possible. So hopefully that all makes sense. So on our website, farmersmarketsnm.org is where you're going to be able to find all of this information that I shared with you. Plus it goes into a little bit more detail. So all of the information in this presentation came from our website, but I also kind of skimmed through it and just took the important stuff. So there's some additional information on there if you want to go back and check it out. And I can share that link with you in the chat here in just a little bit as well. But that's kind of the eligibility, the requirements, procedure, and so forth. So now I think this is kind of a little more fun, is talking about some of the different ideas for promotional funds. So like I mentioned in a couple of slides earlier, signs to direct traffic market. This is always a great way um, to encourage people on the street who might not necessarily know that your farmer's market is there. But they see it and they're like, oh, there's a farmer's market over here. I should go check it out. I know that I've been to the Bernalillo Farmers Market a few times, and they're located in a park that's off of the main street. But they put the signs on the main street to say, hey, turn left up here for fresh food and local produce. So it's a nice way to just drive traffic to the area. So that's kind of one of the fun ways of doing it. Another one is that, a lot of people are doing these days is on social media. So this can be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all kinds of different places. But it's really a nice idea to be promoting it online, especially because you have such a captive audience. Sometimes it can get a little bit difficult because you might want to do it in a small geographic range. So like Pecos, if maybe you put like a 20-mile radius or something around it, you might not actually have enough Facebook users in the area in order to do that. And so it does get a little confusing with some of the ways that Facebook requires you to enter the information for the people that you want to reach in there. And I'll kind of talk about some of that here in a little bit. Flyers are always a good option. If you're saying, maybe if you print up some little one-pagers and you put them on different bulletin boards around the city, some of the senior centers, some of the restaurants, places where people frequent, so that way they can see it. You can also consider putting them on cars. I mean, there's lots of different options that you can do with flyers, but it's especially farmers markets are so visually appealing anyways, that it's wonderful everyone wants to see pictures of bright, colorful fruits and vegetables and stuff. And so just visually speaking, it can be a very cool way to promote things. We have seen some of our members do newspaper ads. So maybe if your community does have a small local paper, you can definitely consider putting newspaper ads in there as a way to just encourage people to come visit your farmers market that might not hear about it. I thought car magnets was kind of a good idea as when I was doing some research on this. But could even say something like, follow me for to freshen local products or something like that. So then that way people can see it when you're driving down the road or something. And so something like that could be covered by the promotional funds, again, as long as it says something about healthy eating or any of the food nutrition incentive programs. And then this other one that I put on there, the Google Business account, this is actually free, so you wouldn't need to spend promotional funds on it, but it is something that I would encourage you to do if you haven't yet. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So Facebook has a bunch of different ads that you can actually pull out. They have carousel ads, they have photo ads, they have traffic ads, they have video ads, they have dynamic ads, and they have lead ads. So this can kind of turn into a whole headache. And it does kind of require you to think about how you want to target people. Both Allison and I attended a free online Facebook ad class through West, which is the women's, I don't even remember what it's called. It's WESST. But I have a page that has a bunch of the resources on there. So I'll show you the link here in just a second. But yeah, it was a free course that they did online, and it was a great way for us to kind of hear from professionals who really work with that to tell us what the different ads mean and like how you can use them. And especially if you're going for like brand recognition or you're trying to drive traffic or whatever you're trying to do, the Facebook ads can be a good thing to do as well. Instagram, another one of the large social media platforms, also has quite a few different ways that you can have ads. Facebook and Instagram are owned by the same company, so some of the integration is already built in, so you can kind of choose your platform. But again, these are just, they have just regular photo ads, they have video ads, carousel and dynamic ones. You can put it in stories, you can put stories on Canvas. So again, there are a lot of free trainings out there for you to talk about or get some further information about this, but using your promotional funds to pay for online ads, I would definitely say is encouraged, and it's a good use of the money. Yeah, one of the things I mentioned was the Google Business account. This is where your business will pop up on there. or your farmer's market, excuse me, will pop up on there on Google Maps. That way people are just like looking at the map and seeing, oh, what's in the area, they're able to find it. So your Google business account is, it is free to set up. So I would definitely encourage you to do so. They also have made it pretty easy to update information. So like your address, or maybe at the end of the season, whenever you close, you can put on there that it's specifically closed and it'll open up again in May, or whatever the case may be. But I would encourage you to come up with a Google business account, just so that way you can promote your farmer's market on Google. So right here are some of the resources that I mentioned. Facebook also does a really nice, they have a whole series of kind of modules that you can go through that are all about Google for small business, or excuse me, Facebook for small businesses. So it really helped you get an understanding of how you can use Facebook ads for your business. And they are, the courses that they offer are free, which is awesome. As I said, I attended a training through West. So their website is just west.org, and they'll have a lot of their trainings that they do. They, like I said, they focus a lot on kind of entrepreneurship and stuff. So it's, kind of relevant to running a farmer's market, but also it does kind of have a bit of a business twist to it. You can also find free courses for Facebook ads on Coursera and also on LinkedIn. So check that out. One thing that I'd like to point out is this wonderful tool called Canva. Canva has basically taken something like Photoshop and made it easy for the people like us, might not be the graphic designers that we wish we were, but it makes graphic design super simple. You can create a free account that gives you a lot of really awesome, you don't have access to everything, but you have access to quite a bit. And it's, like I said, it's a free account. If you are a 501c3, you can also apply for Canva Pro, and you can get that for free as long as you show them that you are a nonprofit. All of the stuff that goes out on our social media is usually created in Canva. If you've ever followed us, you've seen the work of Canva. And then finally, the Google business account that I mentioned, I put the link down there. I can also drop that in the chat for you guys. But these are just kind of some really important resources that I felt I should share, just from my time being here and what's kind of worked for us. So I think that those are kind of good places to start. Then if you do want to buy signs and so forth, you can choose whichever vendor you would like to use, and we all know how to do all that. I just thought that those were kind of important for learning about kind of digital marketing and so forth. And again, like I said, Canva is an amazing tool for people who don't have any graphic design background, but would like to create something flashy. So if maybe you're making a flyer that you're eventually going to print, instead of just doing it something basic in Word, you can do it in Canva. Lots of templates. Really worth it. And again, this is my contact information. I'll drop that in the chat too, so you can contact me. Well, it's in the emails as well. So my contact information is everywhere. But if you have questions about whether something works for promotional funds or not, you can definitely contact me there. So, yes, do we have a question? No. So that was just some information that I wanted to share with you all. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, really, we would like this to be kind of a dialogue that our market managers have with each other, maybe about creative ways that you all have spent promotional funds in the past, or suggestions or anything. But I guess before we get to that point, do you all have any questions about the content that I just shared with you?
Yes, I have a question, Michael.
All right.
So a couple of things. We joined the Pecos Business Association.
Okay.
And so they're online and they have a website, and they keep asking us, we just joined, so they keep saying, please send us some information that we can put online. Would those dues be reimbursable if if what we put online has to do with healthy eating and
For sure.
snacks.
So yeah, that is definitely a form of like digital advertising. So that would be covered under the promotional funds. But like you said, you just have to make sure that you put something in there about healthy eating, or if you accept any of those other food nutrition incentive benefits. So as long as the paragraph or whatever information that you provide then contains that, then you'll be good to go.
Okay. And what about business cards?
Business cards work as well. So yeah, as long as you're, again, as long as they say something about healthy eating or the nutrition incentive program. So yeah, that'll work too. I mean, business cards and flyers can kind of be used interchangeably. So I put them on the same level. So definitely.
Okay. And one more question about the reimbursement timing. Can we send that in during the season? Like if we do a bunch of flyers, send that in, and then, or do we have to wait till November?
You can send it in whenever you make the purchase. Yeah, so you can send it on a rolling basis. So it doesn't have to be just in November. It can be whenever.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Let's see. Any other questions about what I mentioned? And again, if you do have any questions, you can always call me or email me. But Alaska, I'd like to hear from you. How have you spent promotional funds in the past?
Oh, well, we were not super creative. We just, in the past, I think we've always used it to cover our flyer printing, which I guess we have gotten a little bit more creative about making the flyer really be more of a brochure. So in 2019, we started trying to make it really be an informational brochure that could promote Double Up Food Bucks, WIC. Ours opens up and it's like a produce calendar and it's bilingual. So it's kind of designed to like go on people's fridge, but also remind them to come to the market. And then on the back side, it has information about all the different ways folks can participate in the market, as in addition to just shopping and, you know, getting produce. We also have different programming and kind of free community programs that people can participate in. But I have heard of some really great other markets in Albuquerque using it for like hiring an artist to make a beautiful hand painted sign. I think the South Valley La Familia Growers Market did that, and they have a beautiful sign. It's so lovely. People have used it for banners and all sorts of things. But yeah, I think the business cards would be a great idea too. We've thought about doing like small business cards, making like a blank space where you could give it to vendors for them to be able to share that little business card with the basic information about the market and healthy eating on the back, and then they can, you know, write, come see me at booth number whatever on it.
Those are all great ideas. And Alaska, how did people get the brochures that you guys created? Do you just have them make your information table?
Yeah, well, we haven't made them since 2019. So we actually kind of stopped doing any printed flyering with the pandemic. But yes, we have them at the information table and they're designed to fold so we can put the other NMFMA brochures and pamphlets inside of them. So we have a volunteer go through them and just put all the Double Up Food Bucks brochures, sometimes those recipe pamphlets that you guys did a couple of years ago with the really pretty pictures on them. So we stick those inside the info booth, and then we just give them to all our staff, vendors, and volunteers and ask them to put them out in their communities and at different neighborhood centers and various businesses and things like that.
Excellent. Yeah, so I also really like the idea, which you mentioned about hiring an artist to create some kind of painting or signage. So then that way, I mean, we're also like giving it right back to the local community and supporting art and everything too. So yeah, that's totally an option as well. Let's see, I know that, yeah, I mentioned newspaper ads. So we've had people, the Corrales Growers Market, they have a strong sense of community in Corrales, and they have I'm not sure, I think it's a weekly newspaper that goes out around there. And they yeah, pulled out an ad in the newspaper specifically for Good Food NM, which made me happy because since I'm the coordinator for Good Food NM, but it was also to just pull out some information in the newspaper to promote it because again, Corrales is that type of community where the people are super involved. And so that was a great use for it.
Yeah, nice and cool in those two rooms. Yeah. Because it's dark. Plus it's on these sides.
But yeah, I think that being able to just get creative with how people do it. We've also but again, $300 isn't going to be enough to buy like a TV ad in the Super Bowl or anything. So again, you do have to get kind of creative with that. Yeah. Let's see, Loretta or Carol or Donna, would you like to share anything about ways that you have spent promotional funds in the past?
This is Donna. This is my first time doing the market, and I've talked to Joanne about maybe doing some farmer bucks where I have a drawing and they'd be worth $5 and they'd be good to spend at the next farmer's market. And then I also did a banner and it has our logo on it and the times and the programs that we promote. And I did the business cards also. And that pretty much uses up my money right there, but it's nice to have.
Yeah, Joanne was just telling me when we first jumped on this call about your idea for the farmers bucks. And I think that's a great idea because, really, we do want to create that repeat business. So we do want people to be coming back. And I think that, by, having a chance to win $5 to spend, I mean, $5 can get you a good amount of stuff. And so it's nice that you're able to kind of offer that. So thank you for those ideas.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it generates a little excitement to make an announcement that there will be a drawing, and I think it's a really fun idea. Hi, Donna, nice to see you. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I said I decided to turn the video on too there.
Okay.
And Loretta, I see you have your hand up. Would you like to share with us some of your ideas for the promotional funds or any questions you might have? You're muted right now. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, we do something at the local theater. They put some ads for us, and they don't charge us too much. Nice. That's awesome. Like in the brochures for the different plays, or hang up on the wall, or where do you put them? No, they do it on the screen. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. And they don't charge too much. It's real community friendly. So. And then the local bank will put, when we have special things going on, they'll put it up there for us on their marquee. That is a great use of the promotional funds. Yeah, and then we also go through the city and they'll put it on their billing. Cool. They do that for free too. I mean, that's things you might ask about. And where do you live, Loretta? The Socorro. Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, so I love those ideas, especially anything free, of course, that makes us happy. Yeah. Nice. Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Loretta, did you say on the city building, they let you put a sign on the city building? No, in their billing. Their billing. Yeah, if we're having a special fair, like say a Mother's Day sale or Valentine's, Easter, they'll put it in their billing if we get it in soon enough. Okay. And they'll put it on their website also. That's nice. Yeah, and when we do Facebook, I think that's about all we usually do. I mean, we go hang flyers out when we have a special thing going on. That's about it. Nice. That's quite a bit, though. That's great that you're able to get the word out in so many different and unique ways. So that's awesome. Good work. Thanks. Good work. Nice. And how about you, Carol? What have you done over there in Gallup?
Well, so first I want to thank you for doing this, and I apologize for being late because there was a trainer food safety training thing that I was participating in, so couldn't be there. But my challenge in Gallup is that we're such a small market, and every year is an adventure. That lately, I think it's been years since we've tried to do any promotional funds, because we already pretty much sell out every week without that, because we only have a few very small growers. So I was just really interested to hear these ideas, because I'm really hoping we can shift that energy. And I've had more inquiries this year from other new growers that are starting up. And so I want to make sure to honor that energy and have some good things. And so I love the billing idea. I guess I'm always concerned that we're going to get, I've already had instances where somebody's come to the market and then pretty much yelled at me because this isn't a farmer's market, blah, 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 because we didn't have what they expected. And so that's like where I'm a little bit gun shy of how much to promote and say, yay, market, versus then getting that alternate feedback of, well, it's not big enough, it's not good enough, it's not whatever, you know, we're not Alabama, we're not, you know, Wisconsin or whatever, we're small. If we have 5 cauliflowers at the market, that's a big day. You know, I mean, we're just not that big. So it's interesting. So I'm really interested to see the recording and see the beginning of it and what you talked about, because those other resources with the trainings and such looked really great. So, I mean, I have a graphic design background, so that isn't my issue, but I think I know a lot of people who don't, and it would be wonderful to pass that on as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Yeah, that is a unique position that you're in with, you can't promote it too much, because if people show up and there's nothing there, then they're not going to want to come back. So yeah, that is, I do see how that is a challenge. And I've heard that from other markets in New Mexico too, where it's like, okay, well, there's not much here. So unfortunately, yeah. So that is definitely a challenge, but
yeah, it's a balancing act.
Definitely is. Yeah. Let's see. In Virginia, how are you planning on using some of this funding? I know you mentioned the PECOS website and some business cards, but do you have any other ideas about what you might do?
Well, we actually just picked up our first small batch of flyers that one of our vendors actually designed. And so we were going to go put them around post offices and restaurants and churches and different places. So yeah, that's one of the things that we've been doing. And I like the idea of, you mentioned car magnets. It reminded me of like the refrigerator magnets.
Yeah, refrigerator magnets, a great idea too.
Yeah.
Even if you did like a, you know, one with like a little calendar on it, and then, you know, every day that your market is happening is highlighted in yellow or something like that.
Yeah. And so I did have a question for maybe Alaska and Donna, if they would be willing to share, Alaska, what kind of a flyer that you've done, if you would be willing to kind of put that out there and let us see a copy of it, or for Donna, what the market bucks look like.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, if we can just share ideas and see how they all work together and how we can adapt it to our individual needs too. I think that's great. That's actually a good idea for, well, us on our end, is to maybe have like a repository of all of the different promotional things that people have done in the past. Because I know obviously as part of our requiring you to get reimbursed for it, we have to see what you made. So I think that's a good idea and something that we can move forward with to kind of, so yeah, I'll ask if you have a digital copy maybe of the brochures that you're talking about. And then Donna, once you make the farmer's bucks, you can share that with us. Then we can kind of maybe create a spot in Memberly in order to house that. So that way people can. And then I just dropped in all of those links that I had mentioned with the like Canva and the Facebook training and so forth. So I put that all in the chat, so you will have access to that too if you want. Let's see. And do you all have Facebook accounts for your farmers markets?
Mhm.
Kinda, yes. Yeah. Cool, good. Because I think, yeah, just even a business page or whatever that you just have is like, a front page for your market, I think is a nice way that people can get some additional information. And it's also, Facebook accounts are free, so that's nice too. Yeah, and then, something else that I had been thinking about too is Albuquerque might be a little bit different because we have a larger population, but there are a lot of community calendars that exist online where you can post for free. And that's always a good way to just kind of get the word out, especially for special events and stuff. And like I said, a bunch of those are free. So just checking to see if your city or where you're at, if they have an alternative newspaper or something like that, might want to check into some of these community calendars to promote. So that's another free idea. I don't necessarily have to use promotional funds for that. Cool. Let's see, does anybody have any other questions or suggestions or ideas that they'd like to share?
I don't know if everybody has the chat view open on this side, but Allison, I believe, has posted some links.
Cool. Yeah, and Alaska also said that she'll email the file from the brochure. She'll email it to me. So then that way we can start that section in Memberleaps. That way we can kind of make that available to y'all. And what I'll do is, since we are a small group today, I can go ahead and just send it out to the 4 other market managers that are on here besides Alaska. So that way you can have access to it. But I think that's kind of a nice place to start.
And Donna did email me a sample of the farmer buck. I just don't know if it's a draft, if it's ready for, if you want to share it or not. But I do have it.
She just dropped it into the chat, actually.
Oh, okay, great.
Nice. Cool. I think that looks great. Market money with the nice logo. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to share something else too. Well, you already saw this. It was on the very first slide that I had created. But this logo that's right here, this says New Mexico Farmers Market. We can actually make that custom for your market. So Virginia, if you want one of these that says Pecos Farmers Market, we can do that. Same with Socorro and Fort Sumner if you don't already have one, just because I think it is a nice way to, because I think they look nice and also a good way of, again, helping create that awareness and all so forth. So yeah, if you want one of those, you can reach out to us and you can actually reach out to Allison or myself and we'll make sure that you get it. Cool. Well, if there are no more questions or comments, I'll go ahead and give you all back an extra 12 minutes of your afternoon. But I do want to thank you very much for coming to the first Lunch and Learn of the summer. We do hope to kind of gain momentum throughout the rest of the summer because we do think it's a nice thing to bring everybody together to just kind of have these conversations and share the wealth of knowledge that exists. So yeah, I thank you. Thank you all for joining us. And so the next one that we're going to do is going to be on, oops, I should have pulled this up first. Is going to be on, not there. Sorry. There you go. So on May 27th, we're going to be going over market data. So we're going to be able to kind of share tips and tricks on how to collect the market data and how it's beneficial to you all for market data, because I know that that's always an issue that we have at the end of the season. And so I figure if we can kind of address it early on how to make the estimations and so forth of how many customers you have or how much money is made. So we're going to kind of go over tips and tricks on the market data. So yeah, join us on May 27th for that. So yeah, there's nothing else. You all have a great afternoon, and thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
It's nice to meet some of you who I haven't met before. So thank you for coming.
Yeah. Thank you all. Bye. Thank you, Michael, for putting this together.
Definitely.